To learn about the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. So today I'm going to get back on to my tiny house build. This morning it's pretty chilly. It's in the 40s. We had a major storm come through here last night. So this morning I've been working with our outdoor wood heater. It's doing really well. Got it all sealed up last spring and it's working perfectly. So I'm a little late because I was starting fire, making sure everything worked, didn't have any leaks. All afternoon and last night we had a pretty serious storm come through here. And I put tarps up, and after the first major wind blast came through, it ripped the tarps off. So I had to come up here in the middle of the rain and get it all re-tarped, and it held much better. I figured, I don't know what I figured. I tied a brick here, kind of hoping it would hold everything down. When I came up here, that brick was just flopping through the wind like it was nothing. But all in all, it did pretty well. Now, I was a little concerned that the walls would fall over with the storm. I mean, man, it hit hard. Had no idea we were going to get storm. We didn't know we were going to get storm until the storm was here. So all I got to do today, or all that I'm going to do today, is I have two wall sections. I've shown you that before. Over here, you might be able to see where the seam comes together. That's two sections of one wall. Today, I'm just going to work on one section and get it raised up. This is going to be pretty easy. I have no cuts to do. I'm going to put OSB on two sheets. Put it on, put the house wrap on, raise the wall. Okay, to kind of recap on what we're doing here, this is the fourth and final wall, obviously, that we have to put up. What I've done on these longer walls, see, my building is 12 feet wide by 16 feet long. Sorry about the lighting. 16-foot boards are about $40 a piece. But I got these 8-foot 2x6s. These were $9. So it was easier for me to build this into sections, or cheaper, I should say, to build in sections than buying two 16-foot boards and running it all the way across. Right here, you can see that it's an independent wall to this one. This one here, this one section has no windows. It's 8 foot, so my boards, which are 4 feet wide, the OSB, all plywood, comes 4 feet wide, 8 foot tall. So all I gotta do is lay two of them down. This is gonna be real simple. Now, I'm not the type of guy that says, women have different capabilities than men or any of that. I've never gotten into that conversation. I've never even thought about it too much. One of the reasons is my grandma built her own houses. I know that she built 4 houses, and one of them was a log house. Her and Grandpa cut all the cedar trees down and built a 2-story log house. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. But I have gotten a lot of comments from ladies telling me how much they appreciate me going through each one of these steps, because now they're learning things, and when they're going out to help their husbands do something, they can surprise their husbands with their knowledge they've learned. So what I'm getting ready to do now is, on that board, in the center of that board there, right there, there's a stud, just like that stud. Well, I can't see the stud nailed down on it because the board's laying over it. So what I do is I'm going to use this chalk line. I'm going to go from one side of the board to the other, and the chalk line is going to give me a straight line, so I can nail on the chalk line and I'll hit the stud all the way down. You can see the chalk coming off of it. All you got to do is just stretch it out. And when you get it stretched out from one side to the other, it clamps here on this side. And then you just snap it, and the chalk leaves an imprint onto the board. I'm going to space out the nails every 4 inches. And the reason I'm doing it so tight like that, so close together, is I'm using thinner OSB than what you really, I guess, should use. You're supposed to use 3/4 inch, I'm using 1/4 inch. Now, the reason I'm using 1/4 inch is because I'm buying metal roofing, and I'm going to use that metal roofing all on the walls, and that'll help strengthen the walls with the OSB. So I was able to save some cost with the OSB buying thinner stuff. But with that being said, I figured if I space out the nails every 4 inches, which aren't that expensive, then I'm getting more strength from the nailing. I'm using a 1.5 inch roofing nail. That's what a roofing nail looks like. It has a larger head on it than regular nails to kind of hold it, grip it down. A lot of carpenters and home improvement and DIYers like to use fancy terms. And I think it's because they want to show off how much they know. But one of the terms that is used regularly is 16-inch center or 2 feet center when you're talking about placing your studs on your frame. So what does that mean? Well, I went 2 feet center is what I did. And so if you look at the tape measure here, you can see that's 4 feet. So I went from the edge of the frame all the way over to here, so 2 feet, 4 feet. So my center of my stud here is at 4 feet. The other one's 2 feet. See, I'll bring it over here, but it's hard to see because that's behind the board. So 2 feet, 4 feet, 6 feet, 8 feet, all the way down the line. The reason you'd go center is because this piece of wood, the OSB, is 4 feet. So you go 4 feet, right? You still need to be able to put your other board on. So when I use this OSB, it'll go right up against this OSB, and I'll be able to nail it down right next to it. Now, one of the things that you need to understand is not everybody goes 2 feet center. I'm going 2 feet center to reduce cost. And since I'm using 2x6s, I'm using 2x6s so I can get more insulation. Most people use 2x4s. So if you're going 2x4s, you should probably go 16-inch center. You can see right here in the tape measure that the mark is red. You'll see a red mark right at 16, 32, and again at 48. So your tape measure shows you center, 64. So every time you see a red mark, that's where a stud should go. Okay, so I got the OSB on now. So all I got to do now is put the house wrap on it, the felt house wrap. It's like that. These will be cut out. I find it interesting. A lot of people didn't know if that was going to stay or if we're going to take them out to put the windows and doors in. Yeah, that'll come out. I'm just doing it right now so the water doesn't come in when it rains until I can get the windows and doors in. This is just absolutely incredible to me. Every time I make a video, somebody tells me I'm doing the house wrap wrong. I am running the house wrap vertically. You can see it here in this window. I'm running it vertically. For some reason, there's this myth that you have to run it horizontally. Now on the roof, I will kind of run it horizontally because the water will drain down, but on the walls, it doesn't make that big of a difference because all you got to do is do your overlap 6 to 12 inches. Or if you do it horizontally, you have to do it 6 inches. So you just do a little bit more overlap. Now I did just learn from a commenter and I looked it up and it's true, you can buy Tyvek tape. It's made by DuPont and it actually is designed to go on your seams so you don't get any leakage. So I am going to buy some of that. So I'm going to tack it down with what is called plastic cap nails, and that's what you asked for, plastic cap nails. That plastic not only helps hold it down because there's a large bite, a large head on it, it also seals it because it's plastic and it's flexible. So it's flexible. You tack it down on these dots like that. Really easy to do. All right, so I got the house wrap on now. So all I got to do is raise up the wall. Like I said, got my board in place so it doesn't fall over on me. Okay, so the wall went up. Had a couple questions recently. One of the questions was, how do I attach this wall to this wall at the corner? Well, it's really not that hard. Once you get it lifted up, then you're going to want to make sure that it's square to the floor. Outside, you want to go outside and make sure the floor is squared up. Then you're going to come in here and you're just going to screw this into this board back here. See, this wall goes all the way to the edge of the floor. This wall comes to the inside. And so I screwed down at the bottom first, and I drew the two together. And then I came up and did the same to the top, make sure they were all good and squeezed together. And then I just went about every 4 inches, I put a screw, and it makes it really nice and solid. Eventually, once I get everything squared, I get all 4 walls up, and then I'm going to make sure everything's squared. It's so critical that everything is absolutely squared. Then I will screw it to the floor also. Now, a lot of people have asked me, how am I going to attach drywall here? Because there's nothing to attach it here. If you lay a piece of drywall right there, it'll just flap right here. So what you got to do is you got to put another board here. It's just a dummy board. It doesn't serve any purpose other than hold the drywall. And I'll probably use a 2x4 is what I'm thinking, because 2x6 is so cheap. And then I can insulate in behind it. Insulation, I want to make sure the insulation is up first. Then I can worry about all that. Now, somebody asked, well, how do you run your wiring? Well, that's not hard either. You come in between, let's say you want an outlet right here. You just drill holes. They make, like 3/4 inch drill bits. You just drill a hole right through the board, and you run your wire, and run your wire until you get to the spot where you want to run your outlet. You always try to put your outlets on a stud, because you buy these outlets and you can drive the nails right into the stud. Like I said earlier, we had a huge storm last night, and we did okay. Nothing huge messed up. We had a little bit of rain here, so I went up underneath the floor because I got insulation down there, and it was a little damp, but I think it's going to dry. I'll keep an eye on it. So we fared okay for our first storm. I hope I can encourage you to create something today.